franchise that has lasted over 50 years, a giant in anime and manga titles, a symbol that is recognizable around the world, iconic characters and a great theme song. It can only be Lupin the Third. I love Lupin the Third. If there is a show that I will watch undoubtedly, it would be Lupin the Third. This series will never fail me in terms of production, voice acting, storytelling, and character development. There will never be a single day where I will not be excited to watch Lupin, Jigen, Goemon, Fujiko, Zenigata, and all the villain and supporting characters that feature in this vast franchise. So today, let's dive into the world of Lupin the Third. Let's start by introducing the main characters of the Lupin the Third franchise: Lupin, Jigen, Fujiko, Goemon, and Zenigata. Arsène Lupin, the third grandson of the famous French thief of who he is named after. This man has one art, and one art only. He is a master thief. When you receive his calling card, you know you will be robbed and you are completely unable to prevent him. This man is the personification of both suave and goofy. He is a living oxymoron. At one moment, he's a master seducer. The next, he's being slapped, smacked, and whacked around the room by anyone unlucky to hear his poor romantic register. He is a man who embraces the future with more gadgets than Batman, embedding better hacking skills than Angelina Jolie. Great reference. Well, thank you. As I stated before, this man is a living oxymoron, as every fun, goofy moment that he has is complemented with a serious, dark moment of both realization and reflection. Lupin the Third is a sad character. For all the iterations of Lupin the Third, the thing that is consistent throughout is the fact that without his friends to support him, he is lonely. Lupin's history is filled with loss and betrayal, and when we follow Lupin's story, there is always a sense that this man is just aimlessly wandering from day to day, trying to escape the sad reality that is his life. What keeps Lupin together is his relationships with his friends and longtime rivals. Lupin and Jigen have the closest relationship, where these two best friends who spend most of their time with each other travel the world for the next adventure. They treat each other with both respect and insults, as their friendship is filled with everything you expect from best friends, with quick whips, roasts, funny expressions, questioning each other, and most importantly, having each other's back. Together, they are nearly undefeatable, as there are very few things that can separate a friendship that has lasted more than 50 years. Lupin's relationship with Fujiko Mine can be described as a romantic thriller, with each iteration of this relationship having sexual tension, but not of a will-they-won't-they stereotype that has become popular with sitcoms. They take on a mature and realistic attitude of former lovers who admit they have feelings for each other but realize that their relationship is doomed. They express this through their rivalry as thieves, as they try to one-up each other and steal the other's treasure. Their back and forth is legendary, and as time goes on, you truly appreciate this relationship. We now have the rivalry of the Walter P-38 versus the Katana. Goemon was originally introduced as an assassin sent to kill Lupin from stealing the Yakuza's treasure, but he comes to realize that he is in the wrong and comes to respect Lupin as he trains to be able to beat Lupin. This comes up in the most recent series, Part 5. Goemon's relationship with Lupin is one of a warrior's respect, as he realizes Lupin's strength is greater than his, and so is constantly striving in training to finally be the strongest. Their relationship is also filled with comedy, as they both criticize each other's lifestyles, as Lupin makes fun of Goemon's traditional lifestyle, and Goemon pokes fun at all the mishaps Lupin has in his perfect crimes. Goemon is the main contributor to the comedic aspect of the franchise, as his fish out of water scenarios that he is put in, and his shy personality is pointed out in many episodes, with having Goemon focused episodes as well. Just look at him! This is what he wears in the 21st century, and most of the series takes place in Europe. They rarely spend time in Japan. Come on, Goemon. Get a new style. The biggest rivalry of the series is with Inspector Zenigata of Interpol. These two hold a deep respect for one another, as their feud has lasted for over 50 years, and in the original manga it was the main plotline. Lupin III has always been a cat and mouse chase between the two highly skilled characters. Over time, as their relationship has deepened, they have become experts on the other, whilst also being able to relate to the other's struggle. This is seen with some of the best interactions of the series coming from these two, especially when Zenigata has caught Lupin and they both revel at the time they have spent chasing one another. You soon realise that their lives are now focused on trying to capture / invade the other. When this is finally ends, they will both be lonely. Daisuke Jigen, the sharpshooter of the thieves, he lives his life as the moderator of the group, a voice of reason, you might say. Even though he questions the crazy plans and antics of the group, he still seems to go along with them, as he has nothing else to do. And he also enjoys the situations he is forced into. Like the rest of the main cast, he is lonely. He has reached his moment of glory. He has already reached his moment of glory. He reminds me of Mihawk from One Piece, in a sense, that both of them are the best at their disciplines, and so purposely join in on others' antics to try create new challenges for themselves. Jigen has the best character of Interpol in the main cast, as his longer cowboy hat, which covers his eyes, brings more mystery to an already mysterious character. Jigen is also a joker, as he always has a one-liner for every situation. Fujiko Mine is a man-killer, sometimes even literally. She uses her womanly charms to manipulate and steal unwitting targets. Her relationships are both complicated and easy to understand. However, she is not there for just sex appeal, as she has both skill in hand-to-hand combat and weapons. She can stay cool in dangerous situations and knows exactly how to get her way. Being the main inspiration from Fate Valentine and Cowboy People, it is clear to see the similarities, with both having the same comedic traits of overestimating their abilities, and with backhanded remarks for their respective friends. Like the others, her past is constantly changing and varies from one series to another, but on Lupin is the present which is most important to the series. Here in my dark and lonely room, just listening to the lone samurai, Goemon Ishikawa, a man who follows the Bushido code, a man who is the personification of fish out of water. He is a man of few words and is usually humble, a focus on the group's comedic remarks. When he comes up with his own comeback, it increases the comedy of the franchise. His main purpose is to increase the action scenes in the series, usually covering the escape of the gang from their heist. His main goal is to both find a worthy opponent and beat Lupin. He struggles through most of the franchise as he realizes in the modern world that there is more to life than just following the Bushido code. He falls in love, he has many regrets, and he finally realizes the small pleasures that life has to offer. Finally, we have Inspector Zenigata. This man can be described with one word and one word alone: persistent. Lupin's main rival. As an Interpol inspector, he has been assigned onto the Lupin case. His tenacity is respected by the whole world, and is the only man who can be considered able to capture the notorious Lupin III. In the franchise, there are many villains considered to be intellectually equal to Lupin, as Lupin himself struggles to defeat these enemies. However, it is always Zenigata that has the stamina and tenacity to always be right on his toes, and even be able to catch the elusive Lupin. This man's career has been focused on capturing Lupin III. This leads many to question his ability and nature. He can be described as to be addicted and lost to the purpose of his role as a man of law. But his doubters are soon silenced, and so in the end, he is the best detective in anime. Going on to the actual TV shows, films and OVAs, we will start where my journey of Lupin III started, with the woman called Fujiko Mine. I have always preferred seinen anime and manga than shonen, and so when I was browsing my anime list, I saw the poster and I instantly fell in love with a woman called Fujiko Mine. I was immediately intrigued by both the character design and animation of the series. It was very unique. With the opening, you are immediately enthralled with the mystery of the history of Fujiko Mine. We are then thrown into a cult wedding and a sneaky Lupin in the shadows preparing for a heist. Each and every episode is then filled with mystery and action. The animation is beautiful. For TMS Entertainment to take such a leap with going for a thick line and shading with intricate character designs and background, especially when comparing it to previous reiterations, shows how much the studio is willing to change up the norm. Each episode fills you with hints about Fujiko Mine's past, slowly but surely joining up all the pieces. Lupin III thrives when it comes to mystery, having most of the intrigue coming from Lupin's gang finding themselves intertwined with conspiracies, murders, coup d'etats, robberies, and much more. Usually for Lupin III, the mystery comes from an outside interference, with Lupin, Jigen, Fujiko, Goemon, and Zenigata being thrown unwittingly into an unusual world. However, with a woman called Fujiko Mine, the mystery surrounds Fujiko, and so we, the audience, who may have already watched the series, are more intrigued as a well-established character is given a backstory, which is unusual, as the Lupin III series never gives any of the gang a solid backstory. The series also does a great job of introducing all the characters with finesse. If you have never watched the series beforehand, this is a great place to start. By taking a pseudo-episodic format, we are slowly fed small details which hint at the bigger picture of the main storyline running throughout the show. Each episode is unique, being able to be a heist thriller in one episode to a psychological horror in the next. By having such a diverse genre in each episode, the audience are given a different side to the Lupin III franchise. This is a great introduction to the characters' relationship, story, and action that you should expect from any part of the Lupin III franchise. I highly recommend this show for any newcomers to both anime and Lupin III franchise, and to anyone who enjoys mysteries. In the modern era, where Lupin the Third has thrived and gone back to its more mature roots, is in the OVAs that follow the woman called Fujiko Mine. These action-heavy OVAs are a quick 1 hour, each focusing on Daisuke Jigen and Goemon Ichikawa separately, individually. These two OVA are spiritual follow-ups to Fujiko Mine, and so take on a similar animation style. However, they take on a more realistic character design. Daisuke Jigen's gravestone takes on a Wild West story as two gunslingers fight each other to claim the title of best gunslinger in the world, with an international assassin getting the better of Lupin and Jigen at the start of the OVA. However, with his trait of deciding how many bullets it takes to kill a target, leaving it up to the roll of the dice, allows Jigen and Lupin to escape. With the subplot of Fujiko Mine trying to steal a government leisure whilst infiltrating the Illuminati of that country, this OVA becomes both a smooth and thrilling ride with tight suspense duels where the quick-fire action of the draw is intricately drawn up with great close-ups on the actual gun and bullet flying past each other. The animation is also beautiful with fluent and dynamic action scenes, with short scenes of hand-to-hand combat to a sniper duel, and finally to the final duel with a crisp soundtrack and animation. These OVAs also feature a staple of the Lupin the Third franchise, gadgets. Lupin the Third is like if Inspector Gadget was a thief and also a womanizer, and also not Dr. Claw. You know who he was. I'm not crazy. Inspector Gadget. Oh, for fuck's sake, that's stupid. Moving swiftly on. Goemon Ishikawa's blood spray moves on to the silent, humble, and shy samurai Goemon Ishikawa. If Daisuke Jigen's gravestone was a homage to Wild West, then Goemon Ishikawa's blood spray is a homage and even improvement to the samurai revenge story. It starts with Goemon working for the Yakuza on a luxury boat which doubles as a casino. And to start, the Yakuza's boss underlings question the new bodyguard Goemon. A rival Yakuza attempts to assassinate the boss, with an athletic Goemon being able to limbo underneath the bullet and splitting it in two. This gives a good representation on what to expect from the OVA, as this cat and mouse race between a dual axe-wielding lumberjack and an Edo period samurai chase each other through Japan, with Lupin, Jigen, Fujiko and Zenigata unfortunately getting the short end as they too are hunted down while high, which is never good. With Goemon also being hunted down by the Yakuza, the final fight of this OVA is a masterpiece of modern animation, as the slim, smooth and skillful Goemon faces the broad, rough and British attacks of Hawk as his towering body looms over Goemon. If that is not enough for you to watch this, then how about Goemon standing off against a shark? A fucking shark. These two OVAs are great follow-ups to The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, and if you want to appreciate the animation of TMS Entertainment, then check these three out. Next we will go on to the films of the Lupin the Third franchise. You could say this is where many people are introduced into the franchise, as the most famous being Castle of Cagliostro, a cultural icon. This film put Lupin on the map. This was Miyazaki of Ghibli fame directorial debut, which is clear to see from the goofy action scenes, beautiful background, and lovable character design. This film does not have a unique plot, but it is really the characters and interactions which really brings this film together. I personally wouldn't start with the film, but watch it as a fan, as you can appreciate it more than if you were a newcomer. and is also easily accessible as it is the only Lupin the Third franchise on Netflix. But in terms of films, it takes the majority of the Red Jacket era and is truly for a Lupin the Third fan and not for a newcomer. From this description, it's clear that, as Joestar said,
"Like a fine wine, I guess I just get better with age."
Lupin the Third is a series that only gets better with time. My personal favorite part of the Lupin the Third series is part 4 and 5. Which reboots the franchise, with both being closely connected to each other. The opening scene of part 4 is a shocker. Lupin the Third is getting married. As I mentioned in the character analysis, Lupin is an ironic character as he is a constant womanizer in love, but also in love with the cunning and elegant Fujiko Mine. And this is still the case as we see this facade of a wedding is used by Lupin to steal the crown jewels from the San Marino royalty. From then on, the rest of the story takes place in the beautiful landscapes and towns of Italy, as Lupin and his gang find their way into an MI6 operation. With great new characters like MI6 agent Nix, who is a new rival to Lupin as his super hearing and combat skills gives Lupin and his gang a hard time. We also have great one-off episodes featuring Jigen, Goemon and Fujiko Mine as their characters are fleshed out, and it increases the enjoyment for the rest of the franchise. The standout episode has to be when Zenigata finally catches Lupin the Third, and they are both on a deserted island to prevent Lupin's escape. For the subsequent 20 minutes, we see their 50-year relationship all come out at once, through many satisfying moments of them both realizing how similar they are and how they have both come to respect each other throughout the years.
Matter to me. But now that I'm witnessing your final demise, there's something I finally realized, though it's taken a while. It wasn't really the end of the chase that I was truly afraid of. It was the end of Zenigata.
Why can't you keep going?
It'd be one thing if I had an opponent as worthy as you are.
You will someday, I'm sure.
I don't get it.
Huh?
How an international thief like you could end it all for just some woman.
With the underlying subplot of Lupin's fake wife trying to outdo him, and the uncovering of a massive MI6 operation, this is truly a great entry into the Lupin franchise. The sequel that comes out in 2018 returns us back to the gang, having a more mature nature about them, whilst also being separated throughout the world. We start with Jigen and Lupin in disguise in a French cafe in the French countryside as they plan their next heist. Different from many of their heists, as they are trying to kidnap a hacker from a prison in an underwater energy plant. From then on, the gang is forced to deal with the rise of technological advances, and now with advanced surveillance and a camera on every smartphone, with an app that focuses on hunting Lupin as a game, with international criminals taking advantage of this app. This also puts Inspector Zenigata in trouble, as his abilities and need for him on the case is questioned, as he is now seen as a reliability. However, this is quelled as both Lupin and Zenigata show their true worth, with Zenigata being able to track down Lupin in a desert and Lupin able to outsmart the app. Through then on in this series, Lupin's gang and their new hacker friend Army have to deal with both the luxuries and difficulties technology brings to their profession, as they find themselves dealing with coup d'etats, snipers, missing persons, and rivalry from Lupin's past, as his peer has now become a part of the French government and uses this to outwit Lupin. Overall, this is a great sequel to the 2015 installment, and I cannot wait for the next TV installment of the Lupin III franchise. Finally, I would like to talk about the thing that really brings Lupin III together, and that is the soundtrack. One of the things that is consistent throughout the franchise is the jazz OST, which both takes center stage and lingers in the background. By having such a unique soundtrack, it allows the franchise to have a more distinct character compared to other anime. It also, whilst also fitting perfectly to the overall theme of Lupin III, as a jazz soundtrack can be used to both complement the comedic moments whilst also enhancing the action in the franchise. Lupin III is a series that I am very passionate about, as its history and new storylines and characters will never fail to intrigue me. I know that it is not as popular as many other franchises in the anime community, but I hope that this video will intrigue your curiosity and you will start the legendary series known as Lupin III. Thank you for watching, and remember, Yoshikage Kira is better than Griffith.